President Lloyd, fellow ladies and gents, I'd like to introduce my guest today, Harry Calverson.
So why don't you go ahead, sit down and relax. We'll take it from here. Okay, Sharon, you're leading the pack. I'm going to hold the bucket. Well, let's start out here with, and welcome back. Let's start with Dwayne Smith.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I have a happy 15 bucks, and that's for mainly for happy 15 years of retirement. You notice I haven't been here for a while. I went on a real nice cruise in the Bahamas for 11 days, and unfortunately there at the end I picked up a little bit of stomach flu, and I'm pretty well over that now.
Pretty well.
We're glad you're feeling better, and welcome back.
By the way, I'm glad you're feeling better too.
So jealous.
Better. I still have the residual throat irritation, but I completely tested negative, so I can be out and about.
Words of wisdom from past District Governor Maryland.
Do you have any issues with smell or taste?
No, President Lloyd, fellow Lions and
I
guests.
didn't either, but more
I'm
like
happy
yours.
because I can borrow money from Steve and not pay him back.
And Joe never got it, so.
That's what you think.
Yeah. He was very eating in the other room and sleeping in the other room.
I tried to stay in the other part of the condo, but 3 days later Ellen got it. So.
Fine, Jerry.
Just before you even know.
Yes, now that Steve's running the show over here, I was reminded of a little thing that Jim Reineke told me. I talked to him the other day, and he was happy as can be because he got a new toilet. And I'm thinking, it's from Stations, and anyway, he said it was the least expensive in years.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I got the high velocity. Okay, moving along. Looks like John. Go on, John.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I had the happy chance to visit past District Governor Reineke Sunday. He put up with trading abuse with me for an hour, so he's doing pretty good. Wanted to come to club today, but thought better of it, and he's targeting next Tuesday.
Good.
And I'll be surprised if we see him, but overjoyed at the same time.
Could be. Could be. How's everyone? Moving on. God bless America. That was interesting. Past Council Chair, Hal.
Thank you, PDG Steve and VP Sharon and President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests. You know, I was thinking when I did that, I got fined. Look at her, just sitting there eating her food, smiling. I'm not going to pay any money. I'm putting in a happy $5. She was singing. Oh, a happy $5. Interesting time in Las Vegas.
Dick.
My bag arrived before I did. That means that I was waiting for the plane in the wrong spot, is what it means, and I caught the next one. Then on Monday, it poured rain. And 5 people at the conference I was at couldn't get in because the planes couldn't land because it was raining. What? That's exactly what I said, what they said. I went to what the original Las Vegas Hilton, which is now called the Westgate. Got a picture of Elvis. Some of you saw that on Facebook. And then I had a weird experience with 1 glass of beer. That's all it takes for me.
How big was it?
Yeah, it was just a regular small one. They put it on this little thing, and it squirts the beer up in it, and this little magnet that goes down. I just thought that was amazing. Okay, had a good time.
Mark, you signed this yet?
No,
Hey, it's cleaner than the septic tank.
Leroy has, yeah.
That's debatable.
I think we ought to have a baby naming contest. Yes. What do you think? I'm thinking, here's my contribution. Are you going to determine the sex before it was born? Yes. Okay, do you know it? Do you know it yet, or? Okay, if it's a boy, I suggest the name Dog. Wolfgang, I like that. You want a pen? Get a pen out.
Just give this to Sharon when she comes back for Happy Bucks. Just hand it to her.
Yeah.
Walter?
She gotta sign
Do you
it.
realize how many grandmas she's gonna have?
King Lion, fellow lions and guests, I wanted to put you all at ease if you've been worried about the big balloon that's been floating over the United States and it was ultimately eliminated. It actually was just sent here with all of that electronics on it to check everybody's car warranties.
So we're all gonna get more cars. Oh.
We have one over here too.
Everybody see the German balloon?
Lion George, good to see you again.
King Lion, fellow lions and guests, can I take another minute to think about that balloon comment? I didn't quite process. But anyway, my happy buck is just to be here in another beautiful day in the Northwest.
So did you turn 90 again?
Here we go, we're coming back here to the Fine Greg. Did we miss someone?
Ladies first.
Ladies first. I'm sorry. Do you have a suggestion? Do you have a suggestion for a name for this new baby? Okay. Yes.
President Lloyd, fellow lions and guests, I figured since you guys are such good singers today, we should go ahead and sing Katie a happy birthday because her birthday is it's next Tuesday on Valentine's Day.
If they do sing, apologies in advance of the way we do it. Day to you, happy birthday, happy birthday.
That's lovely.
And many more.
Do you feel the love? Do you feel the love?
We actually have some people skip coming on their birthday so they don't have to hear that.
That's Council Chair Al. Are you introducing a guest?
Yes. Hey, President Lloyd, fellow lions and guests, I would like to introduce a wonderful young man. His name is Michael Peachy. He is our youth pastor at the Calvary Community Church. And he's still new to town, so he went to Kelso first and then Longview. But he is a wonderful man. Just so you know, we work really hard to embarrass each other. Okay, so yeah, good help. You're going to fit right in.
Well, welcome. Good mix. Okay. We'll try this again. We'll get to you here in a minute, Mike. Line break.
President Lloyd, fellow lions and guests, I'm sure glad you guys got that singing out of the way. This is a birthday dollar.
That's just his name.
On Friday, I will be 39 years old. For the 38th time. And last week, I'm sitting across the table from Jay Christensen, who's here today. I didn't know I had a twin. His birthday's Friday, too.
Oh, okay, big deal. Stand by.
King Lion Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests. My wife and me got to have our grandkids stay with us over the weekend and watch my grandson play basketball in a tournament, which was a lot of fun. But I did find something out about, or affirmation of kids today, because I can guarantee you they cannot live without one of these. They spent more time doing this than they did with their grandparents, who live 150 miles away from them. But it was fun having them.
Okay, go to the head table. Lion Cindy. Oh, not yet. Okay. Ladies first, Lion Cindy.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I have $5. One is a happy dollar because Jim has both teams in the Super Bowl. Sad part of the dollar is I have 0. And Greg, just so you know, you're part of a triplet family because our daughter Sam turns 33 on Friday.
Woohoo, she's younger than first one.
Slow birth.
Okay, sorry, Spencer. I didn't mean to skip you. Well, yeah, did you? I did too. Ryan Spencer.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I've got a couple happy bucks here. The first one is I'm here this week. Second one is I'm glad to see Eric Halverson here today. We got his name right in the back. I misread his name the first time I read it too. The reason I bring up Eric is he's on the library board for the city of Longview. They just unveiled a new logo for the library. They're in the process of doing their RFID tags. It's a great, thorough process. I saw some of our staff that are doing that this weekend. So if you haven't been over there, go check it out. They're moving everything from shelf to shelf. There's a lot of books to do. Thank you.
All right. Lion Mark. Past District Governor Mark.
Yeah, has been. President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I had the opportunity to retake my driver's exam last week, and I got 9 out of 10. The 10th person was able to get away. Sad dollar that I will not be able to help at St. Vincent de Paul with Dan tomorrow because I'm taking my wife to cataract surgery. It's been an attempt for a while. Some of you may know medical stuff got pushed back a little bit for the pandemic, so it's nice to get that done. And finally, quote of the week from Paul Coelho: "The world is changed by your example, not by your opinion."
Katie, Buster.
Oh, yes, I was supposed to give that to you when you came by.
Okay, all right. Take it away, King Lion.
All right. I wonder if Mike's working very good, Mark.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, now turn the program over to Mark. He has a special guest today.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, welcome our programs today. Typically I would have some biographical information. Don't really have that, but I thought I'll have them introduce each other. So today from Family Promise, we have their executive director, I believe is your title, Don Morgan, and Dan Frei, who's a member of the board. I'm not sure if you're president or vice president or...
Just secretary.
Secretary. Oh, just secretary. Tell that to Leroy. Has the hour-a-week job over there for Pioneer Lions. And I'm not sure who would like to speak first. I know we have a second microphone. We could even try that if you'd prefer, but you may want to just pass it back and forth. So, Dan, it looks like you're up first.
I'll start it off. Thank you so much for inviting us to speak this morning. I think all of us are aware of the homelessness issue that we've experienced for many, many years. Has become more and more prevalent in our community. For every homeless family or homeless person you see on the street, unfortunately there's many more homeless families. You can imagine if you had a family and you lost your job all of a sudden, or your rent was raised $1,000 a month, you could find yourself in a homeless situation. We've had the last family that we helped out, they both worked, they had 5 children, their landlord decided to sell the house, so they were asked to leave. Because of our lack of housing in the community, they found themselves in motels. That's one of the first things that people do. Some people, they go house to house. They live with relatives or friends who will take them in. The last resort is to sleep in their car. You know, you're trying to protect your children from the elements, from the hardships of being on the street. These are the kinds of folks that we try to help with Family Promise. The organization initiated a little over 30 years ago. A lady in the New Jersey area decided that by joining the churches in her area, they would have enough volunteers to help with these folks. Some of the churches had the facilities that they could house the families, and the rest of the churches could supply volunteers that would help feed the families while they're in the program. They offered case management help to help them get on their feet again, identify their issues, and help them relate to the different opportunities that are offered in their area. The national average has been able to get families back on their own again in about 75 days. We found our affiliate was started. There's over 205 affiliates. They added 8 just last year. So we're up about 205 in 44 states at this point. We began our affiliate in 2019, and since we've been operating, we've helped 24 families and 82 children back in to be self-sustaining in a home. 100% of those families are retaining that status. They have not gotten back to the homeless situation. In addition, we started a prevention program just a year ago, a little over a year ago, in which we try to prevent families from finding themselves in that homeless situation. And this has been a very successful operation. We've helped 50 families and 119 children stay in their homes. There's one of the ways they count homelessness is you can count the tents on the street and the people sleeping in the doorsteps. There's a McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act was passed in 1987. Our school systems use that when they go through their children that are going to school. And Molly DuBois ramrods the Longview area. A couple of years ago, it was over 350 families that had homeless, or 350 homeless children in the Longview area. There were as many in the Longview district. It was kind of a big number and hard to understand, but that's the reality of the situation. And they count differently than the HUD system in that they count when they are couch surfing to families that will take them in or living in a motel. So those are real numbers. Don?
Thanks.
We have, for every family that comes into the system, we give them case management. We have a full-time case management employed, and they help them connect to the resources that are available in our community. They identify each family's needs and help them as they need it. And they stay with them. Once they graduate from the program, we follow them for an entire year to make sure they're doing okay and help them as able. The last family that left our program, it was a father and a mother and 5 children. Both parents worked. It was that case where the renter wanted to sell his house, and so they were displaced. With a family that size, it was hard to find a place that would accommodate them. So they first resorted to motels, using 2 different motel rooms at first, funds started being depleted. They moved into one, crowded into one motel room, and then eventually they learned of us and came to our facility.
How about the history of how it started from multiple people and now you're remodeling?
The initial format for this program is to house the families in the different churches that are able to. Some churches have a rectory or a parish center or some facility that they have rooms available. We were using Immaculate Heart of Mary in Kelso. Used to have they set up to have school. They have actual classrooms over there that weren't being utilized. So that was one of the sites. And so we had a room for each of the families as they would go through the program. We limited it to 4 families at a time, or 14 children, 14 people. It is to make it a safe environment for the volunteers. We do have requirements for the families that we take in. There can be no alcohol or drug issues. They need to follow some rules. Excuse me. As they're using the churches to live in a week at a time, and then they will move to a different church. We needed 13 churches to be able to be what we called host churches, and they would see these people 4 times a year to make up the 52 weeks. The other churches would support with volunteers. This has been the format since the beginning of Family Promise, which initially was called Interfaith Homeless Network. It became Family Promise about a little over 10 years ago. But the format has changed due to COVID. There was a concern for our health, being around people, and that. So we started housing the families at our day center, which we leased from the Methodist Presbyterian Church in Kelso. They have what used to be the old Presbyterian Church. We leased the entire second floor of that building, about 4,000 square foot. When we first got this, we thought, what are we ever going to do with all this room? But eventually it's become a wonderful facility, and we see some real promise in moving forward. As I said, originally we started out by housing the families at the different churches, moving them on a weekly basis. This is difficult for the families, and it takes more manpower of the volunteers to move all their goods and supplies, bedding and all. Because of COVID, we began letting them stay at the day center. And we, at this time, are only able to house 2 families at one time. But we have plans to remodel such that we can actually accommodate up to 5 families when we're done. That's our hope. Dawn.
Thanks, Dan. I just would like to talk to people a little bit about that transition piece from where the churches were accommodating and helping every week to the day center, where now we have people where we house them at the center. That started because of COVID. We did do a survey with all of our affiliate churches, and the majority of churches said it was much easier for them to find volunteers because they do help with meals every week. So it was easier for them. That prior to when we were doing the rotation model, they were having struggles finding enough volunteers to help out within their congregation. So by switching to folks staying at the day center overnight, that really has taken some of the pressure off of the churches to find those extra volunteers to help with the rotation. But as we live in the day center, we have discovered that we are in desperate need of a dining room and kitchen remodel, which is a little bit, Mark touched on that in just a little bit. So we have a large space that we're now remodeling to accommodate all 5 families that we'll be having in-house, where they'll each have their own set of cabinets, their own dishes, their own dining room table, and they can have their own family meal together every evening. And that's a big part of our program, is making sure that people have a hot meal every night. That's one of the ways the churches continue to support the program. We've had wonderful partnerships in town. The St. Vincent de Paul is helping with some of that remodel. We have some other contractors on board that are helping us with cabinets and things like that. And it'll be a wonderful addition to Family Promise to be able to have that. And by doing the remodel, we'll also be freeing up one of our other rooms that we've been using as an office space, and we'll be able to turn that into a bedroom for a family. So we'll be able to accommodate more families, help more children, and overall it's just been a wonderful program for our community. Does anybody have any questions for us?
My question, so then with this remodel, the intention with the organization is to continue to be in the one location for the housing, not eventually transition back to church rotations then?
Correct.
Okay. And does that fit with the rest of the organization? And could you possibly grow to other locations if you had to?
I think that depends on the community need and want and support. Anytime you're growing a nonprofit, you have to look at your community support. Right. And currently, our affiliate churches that we have, they're all on board 100%, but they are maxed out. If we were looking to expand, we would definitely be taking that out into the community and also asking service organizations if they wanted to be part of that process where they would be in charge of a week 4 times a year. So like say the Lions Club would be like, oh, this is our week, and then they would provide meals and help with that service whenever their week in rotation came up. That's one way to integrate more than just churches and bring that to some of the service clubs as well to come in and be a part of the program, because Family Promise was based initially with the church model. But as we transition and we've been in the day center, we realized that we don't have to just stay with that church support, that we have lots of folks in the community who appreciate what we're doing and they want to be involved in helping alleviate some of the situations that we find our families in. So service organizations coming to the table and being like, yeah, we'd love to help out in that. So, it really is what the community can support, and financially as well as volunteerism. So we'd love to grow the organization, but that all takes time.
Are you primarily funded through grants then, or churches and then the grants?
We're currently funded through donations, actually. So private donations are number one funder. We do get some community grants. We've also gotten like a Family Promise national grant for prevention, which is huge, so that we can help people avoid homelessness in the first place. So it's been a well-rounded, donation system there.
How many volunteers work 24 hours a day, or do you have them there 24 hours a day?
We do not staff the facility overnight, and so that's one of the reasons that for our congregate care in that environment, that's one of the reasons that we have our prerequisites to come into the system. We do a background check, we drug screen folks, they have to agree to our rules, because there are times when there's no staff in-house, and those all the folks that are there, all of our guests, have to live together in peace and harmony. That's the goal. But we don't have a staff person there overnight.
Just one real quick question. The program you have is fantastic. It's made a difference in our community. The question I ask you now in front of all of our members, how can the Pioneer Lions enhance your program?
Well, I think anyone who has a skill or time that they want to bring to the table to help out. We have, like, for example, we have a few gentlemen who put together our newsletter. We do that, 4 times a year? They do a fantastic job, but, like, for example, right now, one of our new volunteers is he's in Texas and not able to, we'd love to have somebody with social media come on board to help us out to manage some of those Facebook posts or Instagram, which everybody's in love with, Instagram now. Those types of skills that people bring to the table that they can use volunteer time for, because, as a 2.5-person staff, we're stretched pretty thin sometimes. You can step in and be like, hey, I'll make all the social media posts for you. That's extremely important. Of course, dollars, always important. Can you think? Fundraising, doing, like, we have a board member right now who's looking at pulling together a bingo event and utilizing that for a fundraiser. So fundraising is also a big one if people buy tickets for the fundraiser or do a fundraiser. So there's lots of ways that volunteer manpower can help the agency.
Don, you'd mentioned meals. Explain, there's kitchen facilities there, and people bring the food there, prepare it there, and how many volunteers does that usually take to do a week's worth of meals?
So each church does their meals the way that works best for them. So we have some churches who have, each church has a coordinator. So the coordinator kind of decides for their church how they're going to provide mealtime. Sometimes they'll have one person who buys all the groceries and then distributes those out to their members, and each member brings a different meal every night. Some churches, like I'm a St. Rose member, St. Rose has a coordinator. Our coordinator actually sets up, not only does she set up the meal schedule, she tells you what to fix. Like, she sets the menu for you. So all you have to do, she sends out an email, you go in online, you click on whatever day, whatever dish you want to bring, and then people bring those to the center. We drop meals off typically about 5:30 in the evening. The families are there to receive their hot meal. They can converse with the person who's dropping the meal off for that day. We're actually, after we get our new dining room up and running, we'll have one night a week designated for, so whichever church is on rotation that week, they'll have one night that's your night to come in and fellowship with the guests, talk to them, just have that personal connection with people who are there in the facility. So it's really hard because each church does it their own way. We have some churches where one person just takes care of it for the week. It just depends on whatever their arrangement is with their congregation.
Our club has hosted several people that deal with homelessness, as I understand it. Frank Morrison of the Community House. We just had the Salvation Army director here and speak to us about the little houses. What I'm wondering, and now I'm hearing about your services, which I've heard of before, but not in any detail really, mostly at church. How much communication, or are there any benefits from communication between the various groups?
Well, I think, the county does have a monthly meeting that they set aside for all providers to come together. And so, and they're doing that on Zoom right now. So they do those Zoom meetings once a month. And it's a lot of communication, coordination. People can bring, if they're struggling with case management with a certain family, they can bring that to the group and get connected to other resources. So that's always always an option. Our case manager is really connected to a lot of other agencies in town, and so she does a lot of interagency coordination, a lot with CAP. We do coordinate with the school districts quite a bit because of McKenty-Vento. So we have, because we're transitioning the children from the day center to the appropriate school. So we work really closely with the school districts on that, which is one of the benefits of not rotating churches. Because when we were rotating churches, it was much more difficult to get that school transportation because they either had to come back to the day center really early to catch the bus, so they had to be out of that church situation and back to the day center to catch the bus, or we had to change transportation every single week depending on which church was hosting. And so it was a lot of extra work to get the kiddos to school. If we're at the day center all the time, it's a much easier transition in the morning for all the children to get up, get ready for school, catch the bus. It's the same bus every day, and it's the same pickup every day as opposed to when we were rotating churches. So it's a lot easier on our families for them to be able to stay overnight at the center.
This is my last question, I promise. So with the schools in question, so the day center there that they're at is in Kelso.
Correct.
Do they have to go to the corresponding Kelso school, or they're still at whichever school?
No, they can go to whichever school they were enrolled in. So if you have somebody who was in a Longview school but were, staying in Kelso, Longview School District comes to get that child or those children and take them to their home school. Because that was one of the issues that came up several years ago, is children were losing out on some of that educational opportunity because they were switching schools too often as part of their homes, whether they're, couch surfing or living with one grandma one week and another grandma another, and so kids were missing out. They didn't have that continuity in their education. So this is part of the system, is that they still have that continuity. They still get to go to their own school with their own friends, their same teacher, the same curriculum, so they're not having to switch back and forth from, because it's really hard on the kids to switch all the time like that. So this is, and that's not an us thing, that's a state thing. So, but it works out really well for the families. One more.
Just thought it was. My time was too.
I've got a big question for you. You've got a tremendous program there. There's some other tremendous programs in the area also. What about the people in between what you're doing and the ones that are sleeping in tents on the ground? I'm on our foundation board for sight and hearing locally. I hand deliver applications for eyeglasses and hearing aids on a regular basis. You cannot believe what people are living on, say Social Security. Some of them are getting $815 a month. And then they turn around and pay $500 or $600 for a hole in the wall. And they have to make ends meet with that little extra between. And some of that goes to the heater, the telephone, or whatever there too. What you're doing is great, but I see a whole lot that isn't being done.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We have a housing issue in our community. We have an affordable housing issue in our community. We have people renting instead of having home ownership because they can't save enough money for a down payment. So the housing crisis that we have is really big, and not just here but everywhere. I recently read an article that statewide the availability of housing is down to 3%. 3% of vacancies, right? That's hardly anything. And so when people are looking to rent a home or rent an apartment, You know, there'll be a vacancy somewhere, the property management company will pop that out there, or we have a 2-bedroom house for rent and it's $2,200 a month. Well, they have 60 people apply for that. So, you know, if you have a low credit score, or you maybe haven't been in your job very long, or, you know, there's a lot of, you're not ever going to get that house over the 59 other people who applied that have a better credit score than you, or have a better, you know, they have a longer job history than you do. You know, so I mean, it's a problem that's multifaceted, and we know as Family Promise that we're not ever going to be able to solve all of that, but we do know that we have our niche that we can serve and help, and so that's, you know, that's our focus. And then of course with our prevention program, because we know helping people avoid homelessness is actually much less expensive than trying to get them rehoused. So once they've lost their home, it's much more difficult to get them back in. So prevention, especially in a community our size, is a huge part of what we're accomplishing, just to keep people housed so that we don't have to figure out where they're going to go, because guess what? We only have a 3% vacancy rate. So, you know, if we can keep them in housing, that's really important.
Wrap that up.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you again for your presentations. We typically provide gifts to our speakers. Lions mug. There's also a Lions application, and if you need a second one, I'm sure I can take care of that for you if you're interested. As Ken indicated back there, let us know what we can do to help you too, and we'll keep that on our radar.
Great. Thank you.
President Floyd?
All right. A few announcements. Harry?
You should be vice president. You never sit up there. Okay. King Lion, Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests. Yeah, as the awards chairman, sometimes the people don't show up and the week for the month that they get the awards, and that's the case this time. It goes to a young lady that I just met today, and that's as much my fault this year as hers. Is she doesn't come much, and I haven't gone out of my way to meet her anyway, which is bad news for us. But the good news is she's here today, and we want to recognize Susan Farquhar for Rookie Lion of the Month for November of 2022. Plus, you also have one from February of 2022. You're getting your what is it, the certificate of, you know,
attendance.
No, what's the other for longevity or being here?
Attendance.
Good attendance. Yeah, right. Okay.
Everybody knows that you're in
Susan Farquhar for Rookie Lion in this club. I think I believe, I know the one was for the reading at the school reading, and maybe they may both do that. You might have an award for him, you never know. Okay, there. I don't think so. He hasn't done anything in years.
Katie?
How about Bubba?
Poor girl.
Bubba.
President Floyd, fellow Lions guests, I'm calling in spirit of Longview meeting right after we are done here, just over somewhere, you'll find me.
Bubba. Marilyn?
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I announced last week that we would be going this coming Monday, February 13th, to the Kalama Lions Club for a visitation. So it's a wonderful way for the newer Lions to get in a visitation, which is required when you join the club. And it also is a wonderful way for all of us to see Kalama Lions, meet them, talk with them. Many of us know the Kalama Lion members, so it would be a good time to go. I currently have 11 people going. I would love to have even a larger group. So if you want to just see me after the club meeting and tell me. It is Monday, February 13th. The dinner starts at 7 p.m., but we like to arrive around 6:30, 6:40 for a little social time with the fellow Lions. Dinner is $14, and the menu is meatloaf, potatoes, vegetables, green salad, and dessert. Lots of comfort food. That's at the Kalama Community Building, and I have the address if you need it.
$14, that's cheap.
Greg. President Lloyd, fellow ladies and guests, quick announcement. Tomorrow evening is our monthly Sight and Hearing Foundation meeting. Any Lion is more than welcome to come see what we do. In talking to Jane, our secretary, we've got about 15, 16 applications in right now, so hopefully we'll get some more. Anyway, tomorrow evening, 6:30, Canterbury Park. Thank you.
And this Friday at 9 o'clock, we're having a work party at the shop for cleanup again.
PM or AM?
AM.
Good job.
Damn.
That's like my house at 9 PM.
How?
Yes. You gonna run all the way this way?
No.
No. Hey, President Lloyd, fellow Lions and Jeff, yes, you heard in the invocation this morning about Turkey and Syria. Many of you should have gotten an email about a request for funds to help LCIA. If you have any questions about that, come to me. I can show you a quick and easy way to help. It sounds like it's one of the worst ones we've seen in our lifetime over there. So, Lions Clubs International Foundation is serving you.
Mike.
Yeah, President White, fellow Lions and guests. Maybe all of you already know this, but 10 minutes ago I got an email or a message from Steve Johnson. He says, if you haven't heard, I'm going in for surgery tomorrow to take the metal out of my foot to stop the infection.
Oh my goodness.
You have to start all over again.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, you're finally going to hear from me. I can't keep you quiet. As your interim treasurer, I was given a couple of pieces of news. Richie, where are you? Behind you? Yeah. So it looks like Richie's going to need to have some family time to take care of, some issues, and so your interim treasurer is probably going to be sticking around a little bit longer. Yay!
More years.
Listen, Mom told me, keep your mouth shut, Pat. Keep your mouth. No, I'll tell you where. At any rate, as your interim treasurer, I will say the words out loud. We're at about 40% of membership dues in. For those who are wondering, I think last night I finished decoding what I needed to decode to make the membership cards actually print. It hasn't been easy, even for a printer. Been a little bit humbling, let's put it that way. Yeah. It really wanted to print each card one on a page. And, you know, I love you guys, but nobody gets one on a page in a business card in my life. Nobody.
Yeah.
My mom didn't even get one that way. So, long story short, I think I got it fixed up, and those should be hopefully coming out next week. But if you know of any other members who haven't sent their checks in, that'd be awesome to get those done. We'll get it taken care of.
So does Family Promise have room for Richie?
Actually, her family is needing Richie, and you know what? That's what we're here about. That's what we're all about, aren't we, really? Our Lions family, making sure that we're taken care of. So, here we go. Send me a check. Give me an excuse. Everybody's got one.
And
add about Steve Johnston. So yeah, he has surgery tomorrow, and I have card surgery laying around. Okay, thank you. And his wife is requesting prayers right now. Thank you.
Jay.
Ticket? Is that what you know, my ticket?
Is that order?
President Lloyd, fellow Lions. Ken Patero gets first pick.
It's a dessert drive.
And Larry Hansen gets whatever's left over.
Okay, the red ticket.
Larry, I saw your hand up. Was that about program?
Yeah.
Just for those that aren't aware, Tom Fulton is scheduled to do programs in March and April. So after doing January and February, I think I'm going to step in and do April, but we're still looking for somebody for March, I believe, correct? So if you're willing to line up a few programs for the month of March, looks like George might just have volunteered.
George Rader.
Thank you.
Also needs somebody for May and June.
We'll deal with that.
Okay, red ticket. 121-033.
He looks familiar though.
I see the hand up, but I can't see.
Marty.
Marty? Okay.
Marty.
Good to see.
Relay for life. Okay, the blue.
I get you to print your name.
Phase one here. 098621.
Darcel! That was years ago. We had a Halloween thing one year, and we dressed up in costume. He came dressed up as his wife. Basically, drags.
That's awesome.
Does it say director at?
That's so fun.
That's it. That's it. Director at Family Promise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That one's a Joker draw. We have to try and draw it.
All right. Boss.
Senility.
Senility?
Okay, senility. Does anybody care?
No. Move the tables around. So Bob was gonna need some help moving the tables after the meeting. And Katie's having a meeting over here on the side here.
And Leroy has senility.
And Leroy.
Does anybody really care?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I signed in, that's why.
Okay, so we have some rookies.
Rookies?
Yeah, some rookies. We'll start off with rookie, I don't know, where's that page at? So we'll start off with the rookie Daniel Twist.
Oh,
Dan's been gone for a while, so he did forget. I'll grant that to him.
Yeah.
The other rookie that's probably been gone for a little while is George Rader.
Whoa!
And probably the oldest longtime rookie in here is Jerry McCormick.
Jerry McCormick?
Did Terry Kegler sign up?
Terry Kegler did. Yeah. And I know he was, as soon as he came in, he was mobbed, but Pat Palmer also.
Oh.
So other than that, hey, you guys did good signing in. Keep it up.
Any other announcements?
I think Boudreaux's a good name, by the way.
Woodrow.
Woodrow.
No, Boudreaux.
Boudreaux. Let's go with the Bubba. I like that one.
More announcements?
That's it, yes.
That's all I got.
That's it.